Hello, and welcome to this episode of Hammering Down. I'm my host, Kaylor Hodges, and I'm hoping you're having a great day. This is going to be another two-part episode where if you're someone who watches on YouTube, they will actually be two separate episodes. If you're a podcast listener, they are all going to be one long video. So the first part of this is going to be listening to the post-game press conference from Legion's 1-0 win over Sacramento Republic. And then the second half is going to be the film study. The reason we're doing it this way is because the film study is going to be kind of led by what Briggs said. So if you want full context to this film study, I recommend watching the post-game presser. And if you want to get a further explanation on the post-game presser, watch the film study. So let's go ahead and get into this. All right, let's get into the film. So first up, I want to look at the free kick that we had with Trejo and Kobe Hernandez-Foster. Typically, Legion are very much in these kind of situations, they'll want to put something in its little in-swinging or even possibly one of these little out-swinging balls. If it is an in-swinger, typically it goes to the back post. If it's an even then, everything tends to go to that back post. Here, what we see when we have a hand raised, Kobe goes to take what I think is going to be the cross. Does not happen. Trejo comes in behind, and as Kobe's making this run, you see the Sacramento player is pulling away, leaving the right amount of spot where, guess what? Guess where this ball is? It's exactly where the player beforehand was standing, by the way. Check this out again. If Kobe doesn't make this run over, look at where the Sacramento player is standing, and look where this ball goes. Kobe's movement pulls a player. That ball splits where they just were, and Moses gets a perfect flick on. You don't expect a driven ball like that to the near post. You just don't. That's not what teams typically do here. And it catches everybody off guard. Nobody's expecting this ball to come here. Where if I don't remember if I put in the back angle of this, but Vitiello makes an amazing save. I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, this is a goal for Moses. And it's not a bad finish by Moses. It is actually a very nice ball in. It was just a good save by Vitiello. But again, watch how Kobe, making the run down the touchline, pulls a defender because it has to. Trejo sees that the space that was previously occupied is no longer occupied. Split the defense is why you do rondos. Where's Moses Mensah? Right there to flick the ball onto the frame. And it's a good save in the end. Moses thought he scored. Everybody thought he scored. I thought he scored. It was a very nice moment, and this is those little movements that create space. So here's a throw in by Sacramento, and you see Tyler Pasher immediately closing down the space, tackles the ball away from him. This is awesome. This is the kind of pressure I'm talking about. Immediately turns into an attacking opportunity. So I want you just to kind of watch the space here, where you have several players that can play this to. You can play it right to the feet of Damas. You can try to hit a riskier pass and go to Trejo. You can dribble inside, or you can just kind of lay it off to Kobe. He takes the touch out to Kobe Hernandez-Foster. Kobe Hernandez-Foster then leaves it for Pasher. Pasher looks up. Here's Lasso. Now, this is where we have talked about in the past where we want to have those movements to exploit spaces. He talked about how in the pregame press conference that they wanted to find those half spaces in between center backs and try to exploit from there, always have movements that exploit space. He mentioned with Tyler and talking about those inverted runs, you make runs to create space. When Lasso is standing up here, there is zero movement happening off the ball. Granted, nobody comes up for Sacramento. Here, he could, in theory, pass the ball out to the left-hand side to, I believe that's Moses Mensah, but that's not really a very good chance. Again, nobody's making that real run off the ball, and so Lasso has a hit, and it's not far off. It is not far off whatsoever. I think that you see a little bit of that movement create space Lasso takes his chance. It's not the end of the world. Here's a really cool moment for me. You see the ball's kind of going along the back line. Now, look at where Kobe Hernandez-Foster is on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Mark Briggs mentioned in the post-game conference that he wanted Lasso and Kobe, and then at the end of the match, Enzo, they were going out wide to kind of create spaces in the midfield, right? They wanted to create space in those half spaces in the middle. So the holding midfielders were spreading out wide. Look at where Kobe is. He is out wide. He is kind of a passing buddy with Jake Reeve. Okay, so now a ball goes over across to A.J. Patterson. Patterson takes a touch up. He has space, but not really much he can do with it going forward. Lasso's covered up. So he goes over now to Kobe Hernandez-Foster, who had, again, a fantastic night. He then goes up to Tyler Pasher. Pasher, who is a left footer, is kind of just looking for something to go on the inside or dribble. We go back out to Kobe Hernandez-Foster. And this is where we talked about what Briggs was seeing with what Kobe was doing with picking his head up and finding Trejo on that opposite run. So as soon as Kobe picks his head up, watch this. Look how fast this happens. This is at half speed, by the way. Kobe has the ball. Trejo sees on his horse. He's gone. And there was an even better play than this earlier in the game. But this ball goes in long. They exploit that half space that he wanted. Trejo takes a touch inside, is able to get to the touchline, takes a shot or tries to pass the ball back. Damas, I think that if we're being really honest here, I think Damas needs to stop right where he is right now. Because making the back post run is Turnbull. If Damas makes that kind of middle of the box run, I don't really see many passing angles that Trejo could take that doesn't make it to Turnbull. I think that in a perfect world, Damas parks right here on the penalty spot because look at where this ball just kind of ends up anyway, trickling towards where I believe that Damas should have been. Because look at where Damas ends up. When he goes off the backhand side, it would have to take a perfect ball for it to get past Vitiello and Timmer here, right? There is no world where this ball is getting across the box, which is why Trejo plays it there to the top of the 6 yard. I think that's where Damas should have been sitting. Well, I know on the broadcast, Morgan had mentioned that maybe he should have played this one over to Pasher. I think that if Damas plays at the Pasher, you just have even more bodies in the way. I'm okay with the shot. I think the issue is the initial positioning. I think this is where Damas needs to kind of put on the brakes, park it here, because if he parks it on the penalty spot, it's kind of a free goal. So little moments like that, slight positioning errors. You're off by 6 yards. It possibly cost you a goal. All right, let's get back here. So when we talked about Kobe Hernandez-Foster in the presser, one thing that Briggs would talked about was, Kobe's ability to pass the ball and win the ball. And I also mentioned that what Legion were doing was locking teams into wide areas. Check this out. Spalding is the left wing back. On him is Turnbull, Pasher, and Hernandez-Foster. So this is what they would do. They would have Damas kind of push someone over to one side of the ball via press. And when they would get to a wing, either Lasso or in this example, Kobe Hernandez-Foster would come in from the midfield and create almost like a defensive triangle. You even see it here. So when Foster comes over from what would be the defensive right-hand side, he comes over, he is immediately cutting off a passing space into the midfield. Well, Turnbull is pushing up. Turnbull is immediately pressing Spalding. Who's filling in Turnbull's space behind him is Jake Roof. So there's not a whole lot of passing areas for it to go to. Well, if the answer is let's go backward, look at where Tyler Pasher is. There's nowhere for this ball to go. You would have to just split the defenders here, like you do in rondos, and pray that Edwin Lasso doesn't intercept it. This is what they were doing all night long. All night long. And I mean, check this out. Where is this ball going to go? Well, Kobe Hernandez-Foster reads it, wins it, clean. And Mark Briggs talked about the ball that he plays into Damas. Seriously, look at this ball. And on the field, it is unbelievable how fast this is happening. The video does not do it justice. I might put in a clip that I took, but I don't even know if I still have the video anymore. But every single player is on a full speed. And Damas gets the bite out of Vitiello. He's on the ground. And Vitiello just puts his leg out. In the end, it is a poor finish from Damas, but I will also say that this is happening at such a high speed that I don't know if Damas can chip it. I'm not too sure. I think he went with the safe choice. But again, this is all created because of the pressing responsibilities that this team has been doing. Everybody comes into like a defensive triangle press. Kobe Hernandez-Foster wins it away, picks his head up, finds a space, plays through Damas. Damas makes a great run. And again, it's unbelievable just how fast this happens. He does not have a lot of space to get through. Vitiello bites. Damas is not quite able to get enough on it. I mean, if you look, Damas even falls afterward. He lost his balance there. So it should be a finish, but it is what it is. All right, here we are in the second half, and I want you to kind of see something defensively now. So A.J. Patterson, he is not the fastest center back. There's a reason why I think that he works best in a 3-back and not in a 2-back. His pace is not amazing. That said, he forces a big touch, and watch the recovery. So if you were to pause the screen about right here, this looks bad. This looks like we are looking at a 2v1. Patterson has to get back. And he does. He forces a touch, and he recovers really well, enough to put off the cross. If Patterson does not recover as well as he does, it's a very easy pass into Trevor Ammon. Instead, it goes back a little bit wide, and Gurr calls for the ball. Now, I want you to watch this. I want you to watch Famil Kavita. This is awesome. So this ball is going into Pasher. Famil Kavita takes a look. He knows where the runner is. He knows that if he drops off into the near post, he can cut off a shot. And he knows that Jake Roof can possibly cut off a pass altogether. So he falls into that near post knowing where the defender is and trusts it, clears it away. I want to be just completely honest with you here. It would have been really easy for Kavita to say, that's my man. The guy at the corner of the box, that is my guy. I know that I believe this is Turnbull, who is supposed to be closing down Gurr. He knows that is supposed to be the player that is closing him down. I'm just going to stick with my guy to make sure that the cross doesn't come in. He glances, knows where it is, knows the details, knows exactly where Roof is supposed to be because they've trained the details. Shot comes in. I mean, that is nestled into the bottom corner. Famil Kavita clears it away. That is special stuff. That is what we talk about when we talk about the details, knowing where your teammates are going to be. When Jake Roof said, I didn't have to worry about the changes in my right wing back because I had 3 different right wing backs because I know where my player is supposed to be. I know what the right wing back does. That's one thing that Mark Briggs said. He said that the detail work is important. Every player knows where they need to be, when they need to be in every situation. This is the prime example of that. Famil Kavita knows where he's supposed to be and where everybody else is supposed to be in this exact situation, can cover the near post. It's still a 0-0 game. That's the difference. Okay, I just kind of want to look at this corner kick. Enzo puts it in. It's won decently by Sacramento, but it goes way up in the air. Vitiello is able to kind of punch it away. First off, this is an unbelievable stop. This is a certain goal. I thought this ball was in. Everybody thought this ball was in. It was a really nice clearance away, a really nice block. But one thing I want to just kind of show off here is you see Kobe, or you see Centeno has it over to Kobe, and Kobe puts in a nice secondary cross where it ends up being kind of a weak header by Fanwell, but there's not a lot of things you can do with how far it is. But what I really want you to pay attention here to, and the full clip doesn't play on YouTube. I wish it would, but I want you to look at, again, these are the pressing responsibilities that I talked about in the wings. Check this out. Whenever it goes over to, it'll do it in a second. Here, Preston's on his bike and immediately locks down the space from Spalding. When he stops the run, look at where Roof comes in. Roof is immediately there to follow this up. Preston touches the ball away, ends up being a fairly easy win for Roof here. This doesn't happen without Preston winning this ball back. Roof knows that he has the ability to win this ball back because he knows there's help in behind him. He plays the ball, holds it up nicely, and who's coming from the back here? Check this out. You're going to love this. It's going to be Roof, and then, yep, Kobe Hernandez, or Centeno, and then Kobe Hernandez Foster. And that creates this pressure again. So even though it was a missed chance, it immediately created another chance that lasted for a while. It was really impressive stuff. Here we see just really nice defense all the way around, right? That it's 1, 2, 3, 4, kinda against 5, 6 players. And where is this ball supposed to go? What is he supposed to do? I mean, this is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. And because of that, Kobe is able to get it and just kind of deflect the ball back over to Matt Van Oekel, who then again plays it over to Kobe Hernandez Foster. He's been the quarterback this entire game. And he's looking up. He's looking for somebody. I'm trying to remember exactly what happens here. Yeah, so just the ability to kind of recycle play, go around, and be that quarterback. Here's Roof. Look at all the space that he has to operate with. Look at this. And even Mark Briggs said, and I mentioned this earlier, the holding midfielders, their plan was to get out wide and connect play out wide. They were not just condensing middle. Enzo drops in wide, creates an option. Look, if it wasn't for Enzo, one of these two players, I think that's Luis Felipe, would have dropped in and just pressed him immediately. If Roof is pressed immediately, Enzo has an out. And it's creating just a little bit extra space. Enzo now has the ball, and we can connect these wide holding midfielders. Look at this. This is the reason I stopped this clip. We saw so much of this. Look at how much space there are between these two holding midfielders, and it is creating space in the back line. This is exactly what Coach Briggs was talking about. He was able to create this space in the back line, and Centeno wasn't able to get the cleanest touch, but that space created back here was able to create space back there. It's really interesting seeing these chess pieces line up, kind of like Briggs said. Turns out, very smart, very intelligent guy. Knows ball, is a certified ball knower. Should have sped up some of these clips. That's on me. All right. I think the next clip is, yes, the goal. Okay. I said in the press conference part of this goal is made by Preston. Obviously, Suarez gets the initial head away, and then somebody else kind of deflects it out for Enzo to pick it up. So I just want you to watch this. So right here, you could see Edwards could not take down Enzo because he was already on a yellow. So Edwards cannot get sent off in this match. He cannot be suspended for the next game. So Enzo plays it through, and it goes up to Preston. I want you to watch just how good Preston does here. Preston is what makes this goal. It's a good pass by Enzo. It's a good pass by Pasher. It's a great finish by Seba. Preston is the reason why this goal is scored. So it's 3v2, kind of 3v3 if you consider the player just barely on the halfway line. So we all know that Preston's going to drive at a player with speed. That's what's going to happen. That's what he likes to do. From this position, it's not a bad idea for Preston to pick his head up and just try to play a long ball over the top. There's a lot of space for Sebastian Tregarthen to go in one-on-one with the goalkeeper. But instead, Preston does what he does best, and he dribbles at a player with speed. And the player that he's dribbling at is no bad player. It's Jack Gurr. A couple years ago, he got my MVP vote. Jack Gurr was the best player in the league 2 years ago. He's an all USL defender. He's a fantastic passer. He's really smart. So he's dribbling at a class player, and he dribbles straight at him. Gurr has to make a decision. He cannot follow the Tyler Pasher run. He can't. He has to bite on this. He has no choice. But I want you to pay attention to what he could have done. When he sees that Gurr is biting, he once again could have taken a pass and played it over to Seba. This is a perfectly fine place to play a pass. And when he gets the bite here, I understand that he passes, but I want you just to kind of stay with me here. When he gets bite, he sees that he has a bite, right? Gurr has bitten on. What could have Preston done? He has Gurr in the spin cycle. He knows good and well that if he cuts inside, he has a 2v1 opportunity where he can either take a shot or he can maybe play a ball over to Sebastian Tregarthen. But even then, look at the trailing the runner coming in. That is a risky move. So instead of doing what we are used to seeing with Preston, frankly, which is cut inside, maybe take a shot, he has the opportunity. This is the perfect chance for him to. He gets the bite, he sees it, plays it over to Pasher. Look how much space the bite that he had created. Now we're having to pull a player to cut down the cross because Pasher is one-on-one with the goalkeeper. And he gets the bite in. Well, guess what? Preston's already beaten this player on the back. So obviously, Tregarthen is right there. But if Seba decided to just kind of pass the ball back, look who's available in the midfield. And it's 1v1. And Seba Tregarthen. Again, Pasher's going to get the credit for this. And Pasher does make a nice run to cut off Gurr's view. But at this point right here, Pasher has every right to cut in on his strong foot and play Sebastian Tregarthen in himself. He could have gone hero ball. He didn't. Bite, play, cross, finish. To me, it's Preston. Preston makes this play. Preston's the reason why it happened. Be impressed with Sebastian Tregarthen. Be impressed with the cross of Tyler Pasher. But I mean, to me, this is all just Tabortica Preston. Just watch it in full. It's awesome. Preston has to slow up just a little bit. He knows he's dribbling. He takes on the defender, as we all do. Again, Jack Gurr. And bite, play, cross, winner. That's awesome. That's just awesome stuff. And I hope you enjoyed. I had a whole lot more planned with the video portion of this. Hopefully I can figure out how to get these clips like I kind of used to. If I can't, it is what it is. I'll just have to stick with this format. But let me know what you thought. Let me know if you enjoyed it, because I certainly enjoyed every single bit of it. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all. Until next time, guys, keep hammering on.